So let's look at the construction of the TPO chart. So TPO means time, price, opportunity, and the unique thing about the market profile is that time remains as a constant. So if price were to remain in the same spot for 30 minutes or more than 30 minutes, you would still get a print. So here's a profile here, and I'm going to split it. So the start of the day is the A period. So that with the 30-minute period, it only prints A, and then it goes on to B, and then C, and then D. And what you can see is that there's a little dot, and that's when it switches to the next period. So it's like the close. So some platforms use a little different symbol, but in this indicator is TPO chart 2 for MetaTrader 4, and that's what this uses. So basically, you have capital letters first. It prints all the capital letters, and then it switches to the little letters. So basically, here's the logic behind it. So you get capital A prints for 30 minutes, right? So as price moves, it just prints. Now it prints in a line because that's the first time for that whole day, right? So then when you get B, basically, okay, now B is being printed on top of A, right? So A happened to be in the same spot, right? So B is printed to the right of it. Now, when we get in a situation, see this C down here, actually these two C's, right? So that's the first time in that day that this price was printed. So when I take this profile, it's going to print the C's, these two C's, on the leftmost location, right? So you're going to have an A, it'll look like this. It'll look like A, C, and then A, B, C, and then A, B, C, A, B, C, and then it's just going to be C, C, right? So if we go on split right here, so you see it, there's your C's. So the C's remain to the left only because it was like new territory for that day. So of course it gets printed on the left. So, and you can see again. So, okay, so now we go on to D, right? So anything that just happens to be printed on a previous location where price was, it just gets printed, added on to the right, right? So then you just go along and you go along and you go along. So this is, in a way, it's similar to a point and figure chart, but point and figure has logic about how it reverses, and you need certain requirements, according to what Richard Wyckoff wrote in his book, which is a little bit different than this chart, right? And there's no wicks, right? It's just price happened to be there. It doesn't give you an indication of, okay, volume. Now you could definitely, some indicators do this. They have a histogram on the left side. It looks like it's left of the initial balance. So in market profile technically is an inclusion of a volume profile as well, according to how some people view it. So basically, it is very similar when it's split like this to look like a bar chart, but you can see so much more. You can basically see that there's a big lump here, right? So I can tell that price spent a lot of time in this area, right? So you can see how, okay, this was the fair price for a good how many periods, right? 30 minutes periods. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's like 15, 16 periods. And then the market rejected that. So it made a decision, right? So you can see this as, okay, there's a lot of, like, I'm not looking at volume, but I know there's volume present because it spent time there, right? So after it spent a lot of time there, then it made a decision. And when it made a decision, if I were to look at the volume in this period, I would most likely find low volume, right? And you can see now the market spent time lower, right? And as it spent time lower, price is leading value, right? So when I say that, okay, you see the market spent time here and then price went this way, right? And then as time goes on, it spends more time, so value is dropping, and as value is dropping, price is leading, right? So you see, right? So that whole day we had basically a down move, right? As value went down and as point of control migrated to the lower side, right? So, and in the future, it's pretty obvious. And then look, it even closed on the low, right? So that's your close. So it's things like this that basically it puts you so much further ahead of a lot of traders.